Life Not Found is not a good game, and that's because it really isn't a game. The gameplay is a puzzle point-and-click game, making the gameplay about as deep as a creek. The graphics are hand-drawn with the colors of black and white with maybe a little bit of red. And if you know what you're doing, you could just complete the whole game in 5 minutes. Just ignore the 3.5 hours I spent trying to beat the game. That's just how much I suck at video games. But what that game accomplishes in that 5 minutes is more than what these other longer indie games accomplish in their whole story. You see, the character you play as in the game is not a cat carrying a light bulb or a small kid who fell down a hole or a sad boy with an alter ego. Instead, you actually play as the developer themselves, as they are making the game. You see the depression, the intrusive thoughts, the self-hatred vented out onto this game, making Life Not Found a somewhat video game diary of sorts that is not afraid to get personal with the audience. All you're exposed to the whole time is the developer's computer, because that's where all of their passion lies, which is being held back by their depression and self-doubt. Everything is black and white to them, because that's how you see the world when you don't see any light in it. Even the nature pictures on Instagram that are supposed to be all bright and colorful are depicted as dull and boring. You're taken over by all the politics, the distractions, and you get to tackle this person's inner demons head on. Now, some people might think that making a video on this is like, oh, exposing the developer's feelings or whatever. But if anything, I think the person who made this game needs to be applauded for putting what is genuinely reality out there into video game form. Because this is stuff that millions of people go through and just don't put it out anywhere. And that's why I think the narrative is so engaging, because it relates to not only the person who made it, but to the millions of other people that may play this game someday in the future. You see, Life Not Found was released recently on Steam for free with only less than 500 downloads. By the way, to get it out of the way, the developer didn't hit me up and go like, yo, what's up? I got this indie game and I want you to review for 50 bucks. I happened to find it while browsing Steam's new releases, because like I definitely don't have like a million games in my library, right? And was just kind of surprised by the lack of user reviews for a game with a pretty cool art style and premise. This small puzzle point-and-click game is about the mental health struggles of an adolescent high school dropout who's lost at life, the description reads. The game has no goals or objectives. Find out what they're struggling with. You might even recognize some things from your own life. Deeper in the description, it warns that the game touches upon topics such as porn, suicide, self and mental health. Even within the game's trailer, you see text in the first person saying, I'll never be able to do it and I should kill myself, all in red text. And this game color has meaning. A majority of the game's color palette is black, just being the background mostly. Then there's white. As you'll see, the white text is the main character's thoughts and feelings. Meanwhile, red is the intrusive thoughts, or the demon in the head, as I like to call it. It's something we all have, I believe. Wanting to create art, for example, but being afraid to draw, or wanting to stop scrolling through social media but your brain telling you not to, or randomly being horny for no reason. Yeah, you randomly get horny in this game. But there's no way to combat these intrusive thoughts. No matter how many times you want to make art or make music, it constantly tells you that you're not good enough or you're scared. Even the in-game diary talks about feeling like nobody's gonna like your content, so that's why you give up so easily. Inside the recycling bin, you'll find music projects, video projects, and even a game, presumably all thrown out because of fear of it being a failure. You know, since we're being so open here, I kind of know that feeling where you work on something and then like halfway through it you're like, this is shit, and get rid of it. Like in the past 2 months I haven't uploaded. I made and scrapped so many videos I had the idea of making, and then as I'm editing I'm like, this video is crap, and then thrown out. There's like so much lost media related to my channel that unfortunately no one's gonna see, because in my own head I convinced myself that, oh, it's crap. And I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it's good I don't have some of these dumb videos I had planned. When you start the game, you get a message saying that this game is based on real-life experiences, although exaggerated in some aspects. In the main menu, you get to see the only glimpse of the quote-unquote main character in the game. A person with the TV as the head. Sure looks like pyrocynical. By the way, if you have the supporters edition of this game, which is the paid version, you get access to a PDF file that details about the artistic decisions made in the art style and the behind the scenes of the development. Specifically, what stood out to me was the main character, because as they put it, as to why I decided to make the main character a person with a monitor head, that's what I've been feeling like for a long time. All I've looked for hours, weeks, months in a row was my monitor screen. Personally, I really like that detail. I thought it was a computer screen because the entire gameplay is within the computer's operating system, so it goes hand in hand both ways, right? Also, neat little detail to note, I like how instead of saying something like start game, it says start PC. Like you're already the character starting off in the main menu wanting to turn on your computer. As soon as you press this, you get a loading screen which gets interrupted by a slight jump scare that lasts on screen for a few seconds. In here, you get some computer binary, but then a lot of text that's basically insulting you. Things like, why even bother trying? Your game sucks. No one cares about you. Jump. You won't make it. No one will miss you. Just give up. How are you alive? Stop breathing. And many more things. But one detail that everybody will miss, since this only shows for a few seconds, is when you zoom in, you'll see text like I'm not, no, which makes me think that the main character is trying to combat these thoughts or trying to speak up, but is being drowned out by all of this and isn't given a chance to speak up, which is very common when trying to combat your inner thoughts. But in all honesty, it's really up to the player on what these thoughts represent. They could be your intrusive thoughts or could be interpreted as experiencing toxic internet culture. But as you'll see throughout the game, it could be a mix of both. But it's really up to you and what you've experienced in life with things like this. I personally think it's both. The way some of this is worded could be what people have told them before, or intrusive thoughts, or tendencies, or a mix of all of it. After this, you get sent into a monologue that directly speaks to you, the player. It's honestly a lot to go over, so I'll only talk about the things that are important to this video. If you want to see for yourself, the game's free on Steam, and you don't even need a good PC because the graphics requirement literally just say no. Did you think getting rid of me was going to be that easy? It reads. You thought making a game would rid you of me? You're still the same person you were before. Making this game hasn't changed you at all. After this, it just straight up just starts insulting you. You're pathetic. You're stupid. Such an eyesore too. You thought you'd just drop out of school and all your problems would have been solved? How many people have you disappointed? Your friends, your parents, your fans? If you even have any. And now you're thinking making this small piece of shit game will fix everything. You still compare yourself to others. You still get jealous when you look at other people's success. All your hard work is being wasted. No one's gonna play this game. No one's going to play your future games. And that's what I make you think every day. Just give up. That's all you're good at anyways. After this, your game crashes. Oh look, a one-shot reference. No matter how many times you restart the game on a new playthrough, you'll never get this monologue again. All it does is just send you straight into the game from then on. But pretty much this monologue tells you everything you really need to know. You're obviously a high school dropout working on a new game. It's inferred by these lines of text that you're making this game, or the developer made this game as a way to escape or cope with their issues, but we're told it hasn't read it. Obviously, they see the success of others, but they're convinced they'll never reach that no matter what, and should just give up because that's what they've done before. They're also guilt-tripped by what their peers may think of them. All of this being pressure put on the developer. Pressure from failure, pressure from peers, pressure from society. I'm sorry, I try to find like other wording than that because the word society has just like been mean to death. I don't want to sound like those stupid Joker memes. Why am I even making jokes in this video? I'm sorry. All of this pressure being put on by these thoughts. Once you go back in the game, you get to hear the other side of the story from the main character themselves. Ever since I dropped out of school, my life has been all over the place. I thought it limited my potential. I still do. I thought it wasted all my hard work. I still do. So I pursued a new life, exploiting flaws in the laws to be freed from school until forever dawn. Work, game development, gaming, music, art, repeat. One thing I've been wondering all this time, if I dropped out of high school because I felt like it wasted my time, then hasn't all I've been doing ever since resulted in the exact same? Finally, after all of this, you get into the game. Pretty much the whole game from now on takes place in this computer, with you allowing to access almost every app besides Art Studio and the music app, which is two of the developer's passions. Every time you try to access these, you hesitate and get sent to another task instead. You also get a message saying that I suck at this. I'm not talented enough. Why did I buy this? Showing the character's insecurities. The main task of this game is to solve these 5 riddles that are hid in the prohibited folder, but while trying to solve these riddles throughout the game, you'll constantly be interrupted by your own head, and these don't go away no matter whatever you try to do. You'll also be interrupted by your various friends, with them asking if you want to do various activities. Whenever you press yes, the game restarts and you start over, but pressing no will lead them to say something, then leave you alone the rest of the playthrough. Brendan seems slightly annoyed at the player when you tell him no, despite the enthusiasm he hit you up with. Callum just in general comes across like he doesn't care about you. And Nate seems somewhat concerned, stating that he's never seen this in you before. The puzzle pretty much takes you through all the details in this game. In one riddle, you have to try to remember what a file is in your recycling bin by reading through your diary. The other, you have to find all the excuses for procrastination. And the other 3 really just don't have any relevance, to be honest, but they make you dig through these various apps trying to figure them out. But this forces the player to at least see some parts of their life if they want to beat the game, forcing you to see bits of their life and what they're constantly consumed by. On the social media such as Twitter, and Grammar, Instagram, you're flooded by politics, COVID, cancel culture, porn, and various other things. Stuff that always consumes our online presence. Sometimes the game makes it difficult for you to exit out of social media by saying what else is there to do? Not yet, just a little longer. Practically trying to trap you in this toxic online world. Now, after a few clicks, you can get past it, but you gotta force yourself to quit. Whenever you force yourself to do something productive like make music or art, your cursor gets to something else like to the games folder or social media. The only way to combat this is if you uninstall everything, but that leads to something worse. Everything goes apeshit and you get blue screened. What's kind of interesting is the achievement you get for this is called Life Still Not Found. What could this mean? Well, what the game is trying to tell you is that no matter what you do to help remove distractions from your life, it'll sometimes never work. If all you know in your life is social media and you just get rid of it, then what's your life anymore? Just to let you guys know, I'm not really like anti-social media. I think the internet could be a harbor for a lot of amazing and also very terrible things. And unfortunately, a lot of people get, sucked up into the worst of it. This is proven if you're fast enough to read the blue screen which says your sanity ran into a problem and needs to restart. We're just collecting some error info and we'll restart for you. To prevent this in the future, please make sure to get over your addictions before removing them out of your life entirely. Obviously, this person has tried simply deleting their addictions without overcoming them, but just went insane, which is being resembled by the blue screen of death. How do you overcome addictions? I'm not a psychologist, but I used to have the ignorant idea that, oh, you're addicted to cigarettes? Just throw out the pack and you'll be fine. But this obviously isn't true. You can't tell a depressed person, oh, just be happy, or Xanax addicts to stop taking drugs because like the withdrawals definitely won't kill them. By the way, I'm not saying like drug addiction and like social media is like the same thing. I sound like I'm 14 and this is deep. Please don't take it as like I'm unironically saying that. But this kind of just opened my eyes, honestly. I would say it put me in the shoes of how it feels to get something like that taken away from you. What's funny is I actually found that secret accidentally. I was just playing around to see if I could break the game by deleting all the apps because I thought the cursor would just take you to the recycling bin, because like how bored do you have to be to do that? Even when you try to give in to your addictions, like attempting to play the games in your games folder, you'll get a message saying played it too much, not fun, it's boring. It's the first developer ever that says battle royales are boring. I've been saying that since like 2017. You just see how much this person is filled with procrastination. Procrastinating to do work, exit social media, play games. Sounds like me, not gonna lie. In the diary, you get to learn more about the person you're playing as. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the developer copied and pasted their own diary into this game, because a lot of the stuff here comes across as being very real. On the first page you read, I'm tired, both mentally and physically. I don't know how much longer I can keep this facade up. I think it's best to take a break now. The next page, which is dated only a few days later, reads, I've been working on a game for a while now. It's almost done, but when should I release it? Would people even want to play it? Would it even blow up? Would the trailer get any views? I've never really had any luck with stuff like this. What I like about this is it shows what possibly the developer was thinking in the moment while developing this game. Most people never know what goes into the heads of developers and content creators as they make their stuff. Like right now, I'm afraid if like I just either end up scrapping this video or it sucks. But this is a intrusive thought that's shown time and time again in this game. Entry 3 comes in only a couple days later and is an update on the progress of the game. Development hasn't gone as smooth as I'd hoped. It'll take longer than expected to finish. Is it really worth it to keep going? This is the first time I guess we see them finally fulfill and release a project, and by that I mean this game. As we've seen, whenever they try to do something, they just don't have the urge to do it. But now we're playing the game that they're in the process of making in this game. Yeah, I know, it's some weird fourth wall breaking. Did they finally overcome their demon telling them not to? Entry 4 is titled Mental State. The other diary entries are only a couple days apart, but so far this is the longest apart. It reads, I recently started noticing something, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm not depressed, but I feel kind kinda unhappy, unsatisfied with my life. Waking up and going to bed became harder, which has made it worse. I'm confused. What is this feeling? Going by the diary, this is when the author realizes or feels like there's something off with themselves. They don't know what it is though. They claim it's not depression, but shows signs of obvious depression. Is it the denial stage, or could it be something else? Anxiety is very similar with making it harder to go to sleep and wake up. Could it be that? I don't think it's like on my behalf to say, because I know like nothing when it comes to like psychology, and I'm not that informed when it comes to mental health either. Honestly, I'll just leave it to you guys to guess what this could be. Journal entry 5 is titled Break Time and is written presumably after their break, which was talked about in entry 1. They talk about how taking a break was a good decision and what they've realized about themselves. It says they feel like they're stuck in life. Despite having goals to work towards, they can't do it anymore, and how they feel like they'll never get better when they try. But this journal entry starts off very optimistic. It made me feel like they've reached a conclusion about themselves, but then it gets overshadowed by what they feel like their life is. They feel like this is what they'll be forever, even though realistically speaking, no matter how bad it is, pain is only temporary and everything eventually gets better. From then on, the diary entries only get more somber. Number 6 is titled What Am I Doing? And it talks about how they dropped out of school for nothing and how they don't do anything productive all day despite dropping out in the first place to pursue dreams. One thing I truly relate to in this like whole game, by the way, is like the feeling of like wanting to do something productive and having the time to do it, but you're still like not doing it. Like that's me and YouTube right now. I'm sorry. And I'm sure many other people can relate to this in their own respective ways. Number 7 kind of piggybacks off the last entry when it comes to time, saying, why am I trying to speed run success when I'm still young and still have more than enough time? Am I being entitled? I have so much time left and I feel like I'm wasting all of it. I find it weird how they bring up that they're still young and have time, but all that time is being wasted. Usually one's a counter argument to the other. When someone says they feel like they don't have much time, it's always, oh, you're so young. It's kind of like the author recognizes that they're still young and still have a lot of time, but no matter what they do, it just feels wasted. Entry 8 is called I Get It Now, and it's them coming to terms with their feelings, saying, I think I finally understand why I've been feeling like shit. I might have always known subconsciously. I don't understand much about it honestly. Either way, I think it's because the reason why I'm useless. And then they go on to tell about their childhood and their hobbies they once had, such as stickman animations, drawing, music, and even a fan game, all of which are in the recycling bin in this game. If I didn't dedicate all my time to school, if I gave these hobbies some of my time to slowly master them, I wouldn't have been so useless now. Experimenting already affected my grades. I just didn't have the time. At least not back then. I didn't have the time, the money, and I focused too much on school just to drop out in the end, which I don't regret. Now I have the chance and the time and I'm still wasting it. I need to change. This is why they feel like their life is never going to change. Back then they didn't have the time to pursue their passion, but now with the time and change of environment, nothing's different. No matter what changes for them, it's still the same. They thought without school, they'd have the time for their passion, but that time is being eaten up by all the distractions we're seeing, all the self-hate we're seeing, all the intrusive thoughts. Nothing ever gets done for them. No matter what you try to do for the developer to get happy, nothing works. You delete all the distractions, they can't handle it. You try to make them do their work, they can't do it. Try to make them X out of social media, they can't. Is it really worth being yourself when you feel like you can't change? Are you forever stuck in the same time loop for the rest of your life? All the thoughts, the dead passions, lack of friends? Well, if this game has been nothing but a depressing mess so far, Journal 9 gives us hope. This is when they finally want some change in their life. Starting today, it's time to be productive again. No binge watching anime or grinding games, just useful stuff, whatever that means. Following up on Journal 10, it states, with some music I listened to today inspired me, kinda, and gave me an idea for a new game project. The album was meant as a way of venting, I think. I could make a game to vent about my struggles as a creator. I think another game has also indirectly inspired me. The game was also meant as a way to vent. Although the style and type of game is entirely different from what I have in mind, let's do it. Hashtag shut up, get happy. The game that he's talking about is Life Not Found. Once you've solved all the riddles in the folder, you finally get access to the content inside the folder and unlock the game's real ending. In here, you get multiple text files such as futureplans.txt, future games, and why make this. Inside why make this, it reads, the reason I decided to make the game is because I wasn't and still am satisfied with my life. I didn't act the way I told everyone I would and disappointed both friends and families. As a way to end that life and to vent, I made this. Kinda smart, I have to say. Making an entire game as a way to vent, making the whole game your journal, forcing players to go through your life and learn your personal struggles to get to the end. It's a way to put your story out there and the story millions of others share. The main ending is achieved when you find the factory restart code, which I did by viewing the Steam forums because I hate scavenger hunts. And this is when everything is wiped out, not only on the computer, but coming to terms and acknowledging your bad habits, getting rid of the fake friends, acknowledging your addictions and imposter syndrome and your self-hatred, deleting your excessive thoughts, and that's when Life Not Found ends. On a somewhat optimistic ending. But is Life Not Found truly a game, or did you just watch a video of me analyzing someone's diary? Well, that's what makes me think this game is really unique. When I play games, I like to experience other people's stories and stories that I may relate to. In Life Not Found, I found one thing, and that's relatability. I know the feeling of doubting yourself and thinking you're not good enough, but then I also got to see how hard life is for some people out there. Playing this made me depressed because I'm not playing a game with a fictional character that's going through this, but I saw a real person's fights and struggles put into a video game. You choose what they do and see and what they go through, and that's why I think Life Not Found is a cry for help. Anyways, what's up? Yeah, I'm sorry for like the whole like 2 months of like no uploads. I know somewhere in like one of my videos I said, oh, I'm gonna be back to consistently uploading. I'm just like bad at keeping promises at this point, but I'm not gonna promise anything. There's gonna be a lot more videos coming soon. I just gotta like get them done, and you know, that's something I really suck with. If anything, guys, I have a Discord server right here. We have a very active audience on there, and you know, everyone's super cool and chill. Sometimes we do game nights with each other. We play Minecraft. You guys are gonna love that, so join that if you're not already in it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.